After discussing about FCRA, the evangelist, the jihadi and the environmental activists nexus in the previous two videos, this final video of the FCRA series shall be focusing primarily on the links of Open Society Foundation and Ford Foundation with the Aam Aadmi Party, NAC and the NGOs run by some of the prominent faces. So here we begin. You all might remember multi-billionaire George Soros from his 2020 speech at World Economic Forum in Davos, where he called democratically elected leaders Modi and Trump as dictators and pled $1 billion to fight against nationalism in India and China, and went on to meet Imran Khan twice. Here's the video of George Soros from the World Economic Forum.
Nationalism, far from being reversed, made further headway. The biggest and most frightening setback occurred in India, where the democratically elected Narendra Modi created a Hindu nationalist state, imposing punitive measures on Kashmir, a semi-autonomous Muslim region, and threatening to deprive millions of Muslims of their citizenship.
Since the public memory can be short, let me remind you, this is the same Soros whose Open Society Foundation was banned by Russia in 2015 as a threat to country's constitutional order. The same Open Society Foundation funded Central European University, which was forced out of Hungary by PM Viktor Orban's government, who accused Soros of funding a Soros plan to erase national identities and increase migration flows to Europe. And talking about migrant crisis in Europe, we all very well know what happened in Malmö, Sweden. Well, it is the same university that was working in close coordination with Kerala Council for Historical Research under a communist government to justify the Christian evangelism in southern part of India by their age-old and obvious malpractices of tampering the historical records. The Human Rights Law Network has been a chief campaigner against the Indian sedition laws and has even been providing a legal aid to Rohingya Muslims. The French NGO, Sherpa, that filed a complaint against Rafale deal is also funded by OSF. Another such organization facilitating the agenda of George Soros is now banned organization, Amnesty International, which is also funded by OSF. Amnesty India has been criticizing the government for the removal of Article 370 from the state of Jammu and Kashmir and the courts of the implementation of Citizenship Amendment Act. George Soros is not just connected with the NGOs functioning in India, but also has links with the cultivated class of intellectuals who have constantly criticizing the current government. For instance, Amartya Sen, along with George Soros, is a part of Advisory Council of NGO Namati that works for the so-called environmental justice in India. Amrit Singh, the daughter of former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, is also associated with one of the Soros' initiatives. Apart from Amrit Singh, the Congress party also has several other links to George Soros. For instance, Shiv Shankar Menon, the National Security Advisor of India during the UPA regime, sits on the board of one NGO along with George Soros. Furthermore, Harsh Mandir, who was on the National Advisory Council formed by Sonia Gandhi, is also the chairman of George Soros' Open Society Foundation's Human Rights Initiative Advisory Board. Yes, the same Harsh Mandir accused in anti-CAA Delhi riots of 2020. George Soros has a tremendous influence on American media, especially organizations include the Washington Post, the New York Times, CNN, the Associated Press, NBC and ABC. Soros has spent millions to influence media for influencing people in India through their anti-India coverage. The Western media has traditionally held a bigoted view against India, have found enough support from the anti-India financiers such as Soros, and its results were evident during the recent coverage on Article 370 and anti-CAA Delhi riots. Now, coming on to the Ford Foundation and its vicious nexus in India. Just to give you an insight of how deep the foundation is, it donated to 75 different organizations and institutions of India in the past few years, a total sum of more than $23.28 million. With some of the prominent beneficiaries such as Lawyers Collective, Xavier Institute of Management, Institute of Financial Management and Research, Jamia Millia Islamia, IIM Ahmedabad, IIT Bombay. Seeing the current political waves in these institutes, it might not be a surprise if these institutes too become an urban Excel hub just like JNU in the near future. There is a large network of miscreants, Maoists, Marxists, evangelists, Tabligis and terrorists, India bashers and financiers of disruptive activities in the country helping the Aam Aadmi Party. To understand how the entire international network works, the person connecting one nefarious organization to another must be studied. On July 19, 2011, two people of Pakistani origin were arrested in Washington, D.C. The US Department of Justice records describes one of them, Ghulam Nabi Fai, as an agent of ISI. The New York Times reported that Fai was coordinating between the activities of several ultra-communist groups, Islamist outfits, and Christian missionaries in India. Interestingly, Fai once worked closely with Rajmohan Gandhi, the Aam Aadmi Party's paratroop candidate from the East Delhi Lok Sabha constituency. Anjana Chatterjee, a professor at California Institute of Integral Studies, supports the cause of Kashmir separation from India, was aided by Ghulam Nabi Fai, of whom we have talked about in the previous video as well. She happens to be the author of the book Kashmir, The Case for Freedom. Fai, Chatterjee and Arundhati Roy are associated with one or more of the three anti-India organizations, the ISI, Indian American Muslim Council and the Progressive South Asians. And it is to be noted that IIMC gives the extremist organization SIMI a clean chit and projects India as a dangerous place for minorities to live in. The IIMC even supports Harsh Mandir, who is now a prominent AAP member. It also hosts Harsh Dobal, the managing editor of Combat Law, a Maoist magazine. Now, specifically talking about fishy acts of UPA, Aam Aadmi Party and even the World Bank. While the NGO Kabir was registered in 2007, Sisodia had got the Home Ministry's clearance to receive foreign funds in 2005, 2 years in advance. Did the Home Ministry bend the rules for NGO Kabir at the behest of Congress? And if not, what was Kejriwal doing with Sonia Gandhi's acolyte Ashish Talwar in Germany in 2005? And why is Talwar now the head of AAP's Delhi unit? The World Bank had committed a similar fishy act in 2002. It funded Kejriwal's Jan Sunwai activity when his NGO was not even registered. Narayan Murthy, the Infosys chief, is trustee of the Ford Foundation. He apparently advocated Kejriwal's case for the award, as did Aruna Roy. Several of the donors of NGO of Kejriwal and Sisodia went on to adjudicate who would get the Raymond Magsaysay Award for the year 2006. And guess who won the award? Yes, Arvind Kejriwal. If the UPA government was not a player in this entire nexus, then why Kejriwal was never transferred outside Delhi? A unique track record for any income tax professional. And if the AAP's claim that it is not a pawn in the hands of Congress is to be believed, it must explain why so many of its decision makers had links with the Gandhi dynasty in advisory capacity. Kejriwal and Manish Sisodia both assisted Aruna Roy when she headed the National Advisory Council. Yogendra Yadav was once a political advisor to Rahul Gandhi. He even had worked with NAC too. Yadav was funded by ICSSR of the Jawaharlal Nehru University that received $350,000 from the Ford Foundation. Prashant Bhushan was in April 2012 named as a preferred mediator by Maoists when the government of Chhattisgarh offered to hold talks with them. While rejecting the offer, the lawyer and the eminent member of ISC did say that the demands of the Maoists were justified. This is how these urban exiles are eating up the nation bit by bit. They don't even have a fraction of shame in them. If we the nationalists don't unite today, we might lose any day in the future. So spread the word, let people be aware and know about this issue. Because no matter how large their nexus may be, it is all on the behest of Indian people. And if we all are united, no one can even think of harming us. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram.